Hi everyone, I'm David Palmer. I'm the Chief Product Officer for Vodafone Peerpoint, which is a Web3 AI platform which Vodafone has recently launched. I'm also a leader in Web3 and AI for Vodafone, helping to push these technologies. And today I want to talk to you about empowering tomorrow's workforce, right? Strategies to bridge the AI skills gap. So I wanted to start by going through and just seeing where we are in the world. There's been a lot of headlines about generative AI and the size of the AI opportunity and the impact it can have. But let's look at that in the context of other things. So, in terms of the population, this year we're expecting 8.1 billion. Uh, Key thing is that population is increasing. So by 2030, we're expecting 8.5 billion. Terms of mobile phone penetration, really good for Vodafone, 7.4 billion mobile phones across the world. So already over 90% penetration. And that by 2030, we're expecting to have even more penetration of mobiles. So we're expecting to have maybe 95%. So everyone who can have a mobile will have one by 2030. In terms of Internet of Things devices, roughly 17 billion, going 20 billion IoT devices expected by the end of 2024. But we're expecting that 30 billion plus IoT devices will be in place by 2030. So these are connected drones, wearables, and other IoT devices which are providing data and connecting businesses. This one shocked me. So we're expecting by 2024 that there'll be 4 billion digital wallets, and 2030, 5.6 billion digital wallets, right? So these digital wallets used to access financial products and financial services. The key thing is that by 2030, we're expecting that there will be, 50 to 60% penetration of smart wallets. In terms of blockchain users, there's roughly 320 million users with crypto accounts at the moment. We're expecting that would go to over 1 billion by 2030. And metaverse, we're expecting over 1 billion by 2030. Why do I go through this? Because when you look at it in the context of the AI market, we're expecting that the AI opportunity will be anything between 1 and 2 trillion by 2030, but the impact on the rest of the economy could be as much as 10 to 15 trillion. And we're expecting that AI will be used for retail, social media, advertising, industrial manufacturing, business support, content creation, etc. So it's expected to have a big impact. And of course, the technology story of the last few years has been generative AI. There's also been some negative headlines attributed to AI, or negative for some, which is we've had one of the big CEOs come out and say, okay, 300 million by 2030. What I really wanted to get at in the context of all of these statistics in front of us is, what are the skills needed for the workforce to transition to AI? Is it a threat or is it an enabler? Okay, so what does AI need to do to change the world? What else does it need? So if you look at AI provides intelligence, it provides tooling, it provides automation, it provides the ability to make people more productive, to make processes more automated. But there's some other things that we've been through. So blockchain can connect infrastructure, provide trust and automation with smart contracts. Decentralized finance can provide banking and finance. DAOs, so decentralized autonomous organizations, provide new ways for automated processes and automated organizations and communities to organize themselves in ownership structures which are governed by smart contracts and communities. Smart contracts, which are law in the UK, can actually automate law. And then you have tokenization, which can provide new ways to own and transition or transfer resources. Things like NFTs, are listed as new ways of digital ownership. 5G and fast fiber finding new ways to connect the world, and the metaverse providing new ways to experience digital and physical physical services. So these are the sort of things that AI will need to work with to really have an impact. So some of the questions I wanted to get and address in this presentation. The first one is, what is AI? How big is the AI opportunity? How big will the impact be on business? How will AI impact the world of work? And how can I best position my skills or our skills for it? So let's look at the size of the opportunity. So we see the Web3 opportunity, 500 billion. So not to be confused with the cryptocurrency opportunity. This is the Web3 blockchain market itself, 500 billion by 2030. IoT, 1.1 trillion by 2030. AI, anywhere between 1.5 and 2 trillion by 2030. But according to PricewaterhouseCoopers, AI can contribute up to anywhere between 10 and 15.7 trillion to the global economy. Just over 6 trillion of that is productivity increases, and over 9 trillion in terms of consumption side effects. One of the questions, how much overlap is there between these opportunities? And if these opportunities are overlapping, does it mean that we need to have skills across them to really maximize our positioning in terms of skills for AI? And how quickly will the AI opportunity begin to emerge? So let's just look at the AI landscape. So what is the AI landscape? Right. So some of the applications of AI. So we've spoken. The biggest one is ChatGPT, which is a text prompt-based means of retrieving information and data. Has been the biggest application. It grew to 6 million users or 60 million users in 5 weeks. The growth has been absolutely ultra rapid in terms of the take up of that application. But some of the other applications you have is AI virtual assistants, AI healthcare assistants, AI content discovery. You're seeing that now you have AI video creation and editing, AI workforce, so AI bots who are answering questions intelligently online, AI legal advisors, which we'll come to later, AI camera optimization, AI photo editing, AI travel, AI utility, education being a big one, and software development. There's a lot of talk about AI starting to generate code from voice prompts or text prompts. And I think if you look at it, AI's forecast to create movies, provide education, training, legal advice, and carry out a number of research projects. And if you look at the bottom at some of the use cases, we can summarize this as customer experience, AI supply chain, AI human resources, knowledge creations, predictive analytics, customer services, digital marketing, and it just goes on, even to include banking and financial modeling. So the landscape is huge and it will increase. But what will be the impact on work of AI? So if you look at AI and you break it down into the data and information and intelligence that's been provided, you can see that on the one hand, I'm going to get technical here, you have the AI foundations models, right, which are some of them like GPT, so GPT 3 and now we're moving to 4, which is part of the OpenAI foundation models. Those are based on global information, or as global as we've got in the public domain. Increasingly now, there's a push for enterprises to start sharing their information. So we have the enterprise focus and business focus foundation models, which will supplement or augment the global ones and make them more specific for industry sectors and business sectors. Then you've got the tailored bespoke foundation models, which are really looking at specific problems. And then you've got ones that can be job or role specific. And then you've got the augmented AI models, which are AI models which you put on top of these to solve specific problems or to look at specific things. What do they produce? So the generic one produces generic data, like along the lines of ChatGPT, which can be used for generic. The business ones can make the tooling more specific to industries. Um, the specific bespoke tools can work for specific manufacturing tools or roles and tooling. For example, digital twins, where you have specific data that needs to go in on top of the generic and business data for a specific task. And then you've got specific tools, which could actually in the future be based on you. It could be based on your role in your work, in your workplace, and actually look at the things you're good at, the things where you're weaker, the things where you need help, and actually you could have AI tools which are tailored to support you in your role or your role in the organization. And then you've got current real-time AI tools, which could bring in real-time information. Where there's an announcement or there's a change or there's a shock or something like a pandemic. Then models from the past could be used to guide us on how we should do our jobs in the future. So in summary, when you're looking at the generic global models, the business models, and the tailored models, the generic and business models enable workers short term. So in the short term, they provide tooling, but in the long term, where roles are based on generic information and generic business information, you could see AI from the medium to long term will replace workers, right? Where there is no need for a physical interaction with people. Where you're looking at tools that are bespoke, that are focused on specific industries and job roles, where there's real-time information, then you're looking at enabling short to medium term, right? So there'll be tools short to medium term, and maybe in the very long term, you'll see that AI could replace workers, but not for now. If you look at the sort of short-term generic and enterprise data, so research tasks, admin tasks, online support tasks, advice tasks are all in danger, medium to long term. But the creative developer tasks, innovative tasks, and reason-based tasks are relatively safe, and AI becomes an enabler. So if you're looking at, okay, where do I train, where do I sort of pitch my skills, it would be to the tasks at the bottom there, the creative and developer, innovative and reason-based tasks. Interesting study by McKinsey, which looked at the potential automation that could come from AI. And it looked at a number of roles. So just turning this into actual roles. And it actually showed that significant potential to automate some aspects of roles like lawyers, judges, teachers, engineers, business and financial specialists, but not fully replace them. So this is actually supporting what we're saying, to say that, okay, in some of these professions, AI for now will not be replacing lawyers, but it will be taking away aspects of their tasks which are research-based, which are reasoning-based, and replacing them with AI tooling. So in this case, making them more productive and making some of their tasks more automated. So how will this actually work? So let's take a software engineer, for example. So a software engineer, without generative AI, can collaborate and input to software design. So there's a lot of collaboration as we operate within agile sort of software development processes. There's a lot of collaboration with other team members. There's a lot of design and iterative design, which is sort of reviewed and input into scrums and ceremonies. And only then will you have sort of the writing of code, and that code could be very basic code where you're looking at the initial design, and then as you go through the agile process, that code will get even more ever more sophisticated. Sometimes the software engineers test code, so they could test their own code, they could test each other's code, they correct it, and then they're also expected to look at new ways of keeping their skills up to date, innovation, research and development, new techniques for programming, new languages, incorporating new open source in some cases, especially in Web3, to do that. So without generative AI, the software engineer will do all of this, right? And they will write the code from scratch where needed and search for open source code that can be implemented and configured where needed. It's interesting to look at this world with generative AI and how it changes, right? So when we look at that world with generative AI, uh, we see that collaboration and interaction expands as inputs to design. So the design and the requirements specification, the technical requirements specifications, the participation in scrums, the participation with other humans in the workplace would continue to be the software designer. So in terms of that collaboration, but what you'd see is that the writing of code would be automated and performed in a large part by AI. So the software the engineer becomes the initiator of prompts to AI, either voice translation or text translation, or maybe the AI is picking up things directly from the agile processes. But the code through that process would be written by AI. I would expect that the software engineer would be reviewing it, that the software engineer would be testing that code, and to an extent be doing user acceptance testing, right? Saying, okay, does this work? And putting more prompts in to take that through a process of continuous improvement until it gets to the standard where it will be accepted. And part of that would be code correction, maybe providing coding options, to the AI tool, which would be learning all the time. So as it goes through more iterations, it would become actually better. The part where we would expect the software engineer to keep it, and this is going back to the reasoning and the innovation tasks, is the innovation and R&D to keep up to date with new technique. And we expect that more innovation and R&D would be done by the software developer so that they could give better direction and better utilization of AI. So the software developer role changes. So no longer do they have to write code from scratch. No longer do they need to do research. No longer do they need to look at open source code. All of that can be done by AI. But the software developer needs to learn to ask the right questions. They need to provide direction. And they need to maximize the way that AI is utilized, because the most effective software development houses and the most highly valued software engineers will be those that can maximize the use of AI. So you can see in this example that the skills are changing. The software engineer doesn't become redundant, but the value, the skills that are valued most, does start to shift. So we're seeing here that learnable and repeatable tasks like coding is taken by AI. Tasks that involve interaction with humans, creative thought, remain the software engineer, and they actually become consultants, right? Because as I say, they need to they will need to maximize the use of AI and automation. But then there's another question. So what about when we need to interact more with AI? Will the AI do this, or software engineers? So at the moment, the collaboration is with other people, right, in the workplaces, with other engineers or other people who are part of a Scrum team, right, as part of a squad. And you'll have creative minds in there where the human needs to perform a translation from the Scrum and the squad inputs into the AI engineer. Going forwards, where AI are doing more of those tasks outside of the software engineering, and AI is providing data and inputs of itself. Would the AI start to interact with other AI? And when that happens, does that take some of the collaboration and interaction skills away? Because you'd expect that AI will be able to do this more efficiently with AI rather than humans. So there is a risk or a probability that some of the collaboration tasks where it's AI to AI could change in the future. And just looking at this, interesting headline just this month, right? Just in the last few days, JP Morgan reveals AI cash flow tool that cuts 90% of the workforce. So that is a positive. But a negative from Bloomberg is that OpenAI GPT 3.5 showed racial bias for recruiting. So showing that AI still is only as good as the data that is input, and that there are biases. And you could see that in a recruitment process, which was using that data. You would need humans, so the recruiter wouldn't necessarily go out and search, but you would need a human to exercise that judgment, especially where there could be bias in the data. The other thing is that when you look at AI and you look at the role we just described above, there was a lot of talk about the software engineer, in this case, working with AI, interacting with it, giving it prompts, testing its code, correcting its code. How's that done? And this is where there's a saying, or my saying, that the AI metaverse is AI on Earth, meaning that in terms of the interaction point for AI, as AI comes into all of these industries, judges, lawyers, doctors, teachers, software engineers, how are we going to interact with it? And what's the best, most comfortable way to interact with AI? So there's talk about natural language translation, voice prompts. At the moment, we have text prompts. But we can bet that the way we will interact with AI is through the metaverse, making the metaverse very, very important. And spatial computing, 3D, augmented reality, mixed reality, virtual reality, as key things where we will start to interact with AI. And then if we're actually thinking about, okay, what are the skills we need and which industries should we target, you can look at some of the metaverse, right? So if you look at the consumer metaverse, things like gaming, retail, education, trading, socializing, collaborating, creating, are all key things in the consumer metaverse and key areas where AI will start to play a role in terms of staffing and building that area of the metaverse. The other side is the industrial metaverse with digital twins, manufacturing, immersive training, etc., where if you look at the previous slides, we were talking about specific industry tooling where the metaverse will operate, where AI will operate, but you'll interact with it through the metaverse. And then you have the shared metaverse, so the exciting things like creator economy, producer economy, virtual businesses, gig economies. All of these things, are essentially, part of the what we call the shared metaverse. But going across all of these things, the consumer metaverse, the shared metaverse, and the industrial metaverse, is the AI metaverse. And where you look at the metaverse as the interaction point between AI, people, and businesses, then it becomes important. And you can see here that we expect that the metaverse won't be one big metaverse, but it will be embedded metaverse. So metaverse in Apple, as we've seen with the Apple Pro headset, embedded metaverse in Meta, as we've seen with the Meta, previously known as Facebook, developments of spatial computing and virtual reality applications. And we'll start to see that in more social media platforms. And that's the way we expect it to progress. But we expect that, where you see this metaverse as a new operating system that is developing, so you can bring IoT, blockchain, and all these technologies together, that it will increasingly incorporate AI. So another way of approaching your skills is to look at the skills in the metaverse and these other areas of Web3, fintech, and looking at how, again, as a software engineer was trying to do, how these roles and these sectors can maximize the use of AI, and that is the maximizing use of AI in all of these areas is going to be a key skill. If we look at the metaverse again, and some of the feature sets from of the metaverse, some of it is the immersive experience, the ability to remove geography, so areas like learning where you don't need to physically turn up to a class, portability of identity, bringing people back to life with AI. So you had this a lot of examples of Steve Jobs and people asking him what he thought of AI, etc. But that's AI using past data to predict the future, virtual factories, etc. So there's a lot of things when you look at the features or the feature set of the metaverse, which will incorporate AI. And we expect that AI will not only help to build the metaverse, but we also expect that AI will be part of the workers that staff the metaverse, and that AI will be helping to shape the experiences of the metaverse as well. And you can see that again, where you see the metaverse as this new digital operating system. You know, how you incorporate AI into that will be key. So if you're in the software development industry, or you're in the architecture, or you're in the technology industry, you know, how you incorporate AI with these other technologies is going to be key going forwards. If we look at the complementary skills for the world of AI, you can see the different roles and responsibilities here. So 5G and super fast fiber connectivity connects people. Some of the developments we have now is satellite, which is being rolled out into our connectivity to provide maritime and air cover for AI potentially. Internet of Things can provide useful data into AI. The metaverse is the interaction point with AI, but another interaction point will be the 8 billion smartphones, mobile phones we have, which is a way for people to interact with AI now. We have 4 billion wallets now, which can be used to access financial services and transact with AI. And then we have the metaverse, the blockchain and Web3, which can provide trust and governance for AI. So in closing, some of the key themes for closing the AI skills gap. So I think the first one is that AI is coming, and it will impact the workplace. Right? It's coming, it's here, it's starting to impact the workplace already. Big companies like SAP are changing all of their processes to incorporate generative AI and streamline those processes with increased automation with AI. But as we've seen, it's not quite there yet, and it still requires a lot of attention and monitoring. To that end, AI will not replace key roles, but rather force a transition to more creative and people interactive tasks. So it will be seen more as a tool. But again, how you use that tool effectively will increase the value. It's going to be a key skill going forward. The other thing is that AI can't work in isolation, right? It will work with the metaverse. It will work with Web3. It will work with fintech. And another way into AI or skills will be how you can bridge the gap and incorporate AI, from the perspective of those industries. Some areas like legal, doctors, teachers, engineers, researchers will see the impact sooner rather than later, and will need to incorporate Gen AI tooling in the next 18 months. But I think the key things is that this is a really exciting area. We're expecting to see productivity increases on a scale that we've never seen before. But we're also expecting to see AI bring together different technologies, metaverse, Web3, fintech, 5G, satellite communications in a way that's never been done before. And to that end, part of the skills will be to get skills in those areas as well. So I'm going to stop now the presentation. So I'll stop sharing, and I'll just look at any questions that we have that have come through. Okay, if there's no questions, then I'll hand you back to everyone. But really enjoyed talking today to you today, and I can be found david.palmer@Vodafone. So if you look at david.palmer Vodafone, you can find me on LinkedIn. So do you think there is we are in latent position when it comes to workforce, or we assume that humans are extremely resilient? No, we'll find a way. So if you look at online, robotic process automation has been here. Online, e-commerce has been here. Mobile phones have been here. Cloud computer. If we look at the technology that's happened over the last 20 years, I mean, it's been really significant, and humans have found a way to create themselves and create new value in their positions. I expect nothing different here. The other one is that laws and legislations protecting humans. I think, yeah. So one of the things I didn't cover was the fact that this needs policing and governance. So I did hint at it with Web3 and blockchain providing that governance, but we definitely need policy to find the right balance of this technology with existing communities, industries, and populations. Thank you so much. Thank you.